Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Beth. I go by the username Be More Creative, both here on Flosstube and on Instagram. I am back with Flosstube number 43, and we are going to look there, I can't even speak today. We are going to jump straight in and share with you the things. I'm hoping this week is going to be a little bit quieter. Most of my students are out on a school trip. There's only about 16 of them in the younger class that are here. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it is not going to be as noisy as it was last time. I also know the gardener's got a day off today, so hopefully no sounds of mowing or anything in the background. Just quickly, before I jump in, I do want to just address a few things. Firstly, I want to apologise for the delay in getting back into comments. I don't know what it was. My YouTube studio last week, I kept going in and it didn't show me any comments. On my last video. Thought, okay, that's absolutely fine. And then suddenly I had comments showing up that haven't been there, but like comments that have been there for weeks on other things. So I don't really use YouTube on anything except for my phone or my tablet. And the only way I see if someone's commented on my videos is to go into my YouTube studio. So I do tend to go in, but for some reason the comments weren't showing up in there. So I really do apologize. I'm working through answering comments. Some of them are on videos over Flossmas and they've literally shown up today, but the person commented like 3 weeks ago. So I am very sorry about that and I do apologize. So let's jump straight in. So I have got some FFOs. I actually did some fully finishing these past 2 weeks. And the first one is my freebies on the 17th. So if you watched yesterday's video, or if you haven't, you might want to pause this and head on over there and pick up this free chart. So just a little info, freebies on the 17th is a concept I came up with last year in order to be able to give back to you guys. I offer a design that I have, so a chart I have designed myself, and it is my freebies on the 17th. So they go up on the 17th of each month. There is a couple of times where I put it up a little bit earlier, or the month of December it goes up a little bit differently, but generally on the 17th each month you can check back in and you can find a freebies on the 17th. So this was this month's piece. I spoke about this in yesterday's video, so I'm not going to give too much details, but I will let you know this has given me in January this gave me £10 in the Stitch from Stash piece, because I actually stitched this piece and finished it in January, so I included it in the budget for there. So for those that don't know, I'm also doing the Stitch from Stash challenge, and I will at the end of each month or the beginning of the new month, whenever the video falls, I do a little update of where I am in the challenge to keep myself accountable and to share it with you guys. So anyone who's stitching this, if you want to download this and stitch this, it does give you a £10 into the budget and you don't have to buy the chart. Everything I do is Stitch from Stash. So change the colours, change the fabric. I don't even think you can get these fabrics because it is Coffee Craft Designs and I get hers in the Super Sunday sale. So that is that. So that is my first finish. My second finish was also a chart that I showed you in my last Flosstube. So this is Lovely Home from Country Cottage Needleworks, and this is stitched on the same, these are 18 count, a Coffee Craft Designs fabric. I've actually managed to stitch 3 pieces on this one piece. So they're 18 by 27 inch cuts of fabric, and it's about 25 to 26 pounds for the piece, but I think it's really worth it because I have managed to get 3 smalls, 1 big, and I have 2 offcuts for smalls as well. So pretty much, how many pieces? So 6 designs I could get on one piece, or if you wanted to do 2 larger ones, whatever. But yeah, so this is how I've done them. I've done them pretty much in all the same way. This is a tag from Hobbycraft. This one was a chopping board from Poundland. Absolutely brilliant, those Poundland chopping boards. I pick them up whenever I see them because they are so much fun for a finish. I actually used the paint that I got from the scrap store, which I spoke about last time. It's the membership place in London where you can go and pick up other like art materials that have been donated. So I picked up the paint from there. I picked up these ribbons in Hobbycraft. It's new out this year and absolutely love them. I've already ordered a couple more for next month's 3Bs on the 17th piece. I've used some lace ribbon and some jute twine for these. So they all pretty much match the 3 Valentine's pieces that I have. And then the last one is the Made with Love from Fat Quarter Shop. This was also a free chart this year. And I actually used some felt from that, or it's wool, actually it's not felt, so wool from the book that I showed you, the sampler book from that place, just as a little bit of backing, because this piece is quite skinny and it didn't really fit on this frame too well. I think these were from Temu. When I tried out Temu one time, I ordered some craft blanks and I got these in a set of 6. They were like £2 to £3 for the set of 6. They're really, really flimsy wooden boards, but for a little finish, they work quite well. And I've just finished it in the same way. Hobbycraft wired ribbon, 3 different pieces. There's a white in the middle just to puff it out a bit. 2 little buttons, and all of them have got a handmade with love button because I just thought that matched, and they've all got the twine at the bottom. So these 3 finishes for Valentine's Day this year all really match, and I do like the fact that I will be able to look back and know that these are the pieces I finished this year because they all do match. The last finish I have is actually kind of also takes us in sorry, the last fully finish I have also connects to the whip. So I'm going to show you the fully finish and then I'll speak about the whips shortly. So this is the first part of the Caterpillar Cross Stitch kit Easter Extravaganza. This was the most recent kit out, and as you can see, it is 3 eggs all stitched in one. But when I joined this kit, I went back and I decided that I was not going to stitch unless the piece really, really called for me to finish it in the way it's done. I was going to challenge myself and use these kits and stitch them in a different way, because not all of the kits are to my taste. To be honest, I probably wouldn't have picked this up. Not that I don't think the chart is gorgeous, it's just not necessarily to my style of stitching. So I am still really grateful I am in the kit. I do purchase the kit every 2 months, but I do make it into a bit of a challenge for myself because that way I'm more likely to stitch them rather than just hoard these things. So I decided I was going to see if I could use the kit and use everything in the kit, so it comes with the fabric and the threads, but if I could stitch it in such a way that I could have individual ornaments. So this is a Hobbycraft wooden egg, and I'm just going to hold for 1 second and just pick up the other one. Sorry, I just wanted to grab the other one that I have here. So this is what they look like at the start. It's got the enamel white front. It's a wooden egg, so you could use either side. And these were £2. I have just ordered another one because when I picked these up, I was having a feeling I was going to use them for the freebies on the 17th piece. But then I saw this kit and thought, these look absolutely perfect. So you don't really see much of the white on my finishing, because I have added a sari ribbon around the edge, and I purposely did it quite messy because I quite like the look of it, but I do like the white kind of pops through here and there. So as I said, I've made another Hobbycraft order because when I was in the shop, I only picked up 2 of these and I regretted it the minute I got back on the train, but I wasn't going to go back. So ordered another one to come so I can work on the other 2 and have them finished individually. I've just used a brown gingham ribbon, and it's got hot glue on it, sorry, and I've hot glued a button onto there. So this was really, really simple to do. I stitched this piece up in actually took me a couple of hours because I had to unpick all of this bottom part because I'd stitched it wrong. I stitched it wrong again, but I have fudged the middle part, this green plant, because I think I messed up here and then it just ricocheted down and I was like, I'm done at this point. So I have restitched it, but I am going to be stitching the other 2 and I'll be finishing them in the same way onto these little eggs. I think they'd be super fun as little, if you do an Easter egg tree, or if you just have, I'm going to hang mine where my hearts are hanging. When I change out my board for spring, I will be putting these up. So the fabric kit came with a 14 count Swigart Pale Pink Ada. Normally I do not stitch on 14 count. I don't really like how the 14 count looks. On this piece I'm alright with it, but it's not my favourite. But because it was in the kit and I wanted to like limit myself to see if I could do it in the kit, because I didn't want to change the fabric up. I wanted to see if I could get all 3 pieces stitched, and I'm pretty sure I can. I have cut the fabric, so hopefully the other pieces will fit onto their respective pieces. But they're really, really cute. I love the way that they look. So put that aside, because that is also going back into the whip section later. So this one I'm not including in the Stitch from Stash now, because I am actually going to have all 3 done before I can say that I can add it into the budget, because I'm going to count the piece as if it was one piece rather than trying to work out individual. So I haven't worked out that from yet because the pieces aren't finished, but it will motivate me to finish the pieces in the month of February. So that is that. So jumping in to finishes that aren't FFO'd yet, I have 2. I don't think I've shown you these last week, so I have 2. Now, I do find these first 2 quite comical because I didn't think... I kind of wanted them small, I just didn't think they were going to turn out this size. So these are the Stitching with the Housewives, some of last year's spring roundabouts, and the first one is Life in Full Bloom, and I have stitched this 1/1 on 25 count, which is something I absolutely love doing. I tend to love stitching things up teeny tiny. This fabric is called Lilac Smokes. It's a Jodrell Designs limited edition. Unfortunately, you can't get Jodrell Designs fabrics anymore. I have quite a few in my stash though, so I will be using them throughout the rest of the year until they, well, the rest of the few years, I guess, until they're finished. I have stitched this with nearly all of the called for colours. There are a couple of changes. That is listed in my cross stitch tracker that is down below in the description box. So just to give you a reference of the size, this is actually 4.5 centimeters across. So it's less than 2 inches, I think. Less than 2 inches? Yes, it is less than 2 inches. So that is the first one, and that gives me a Stitch from Stash of £7. As I said, I do not give myself the 10% extra for stitching with hand-dyed threads. I just don't see that as a bonus to me. So that is £7 into the budget for the month of February. The next finish I have is also on the same fabric, so I'm just going to open it up. And that is another Stitching with the Housewives. This is Bloom Where You Are Planted. This is the one that comes with the freebie, which is something to do with tulips. I haven't stitched that. I will be stitching it. But there is that one. This is also, because it's the same size, it's a £7. Absolutely love it. So these are teeny tiny, but I do love how these have come across. Absolutely love them. The next finish I have is actually thanks to Helen D. So Helen D did a small, like, not a Flosstube, just like an extra video where she said about the fact the market's coming up and we are most likely going to be getting charts from market, but a lot of us probably have things we haven't stitched from market before, which is 100% the truth. I have pieces from market that I did stitch and then have destashed or just didn't like anymore. I kind of got caught up with the vibe, so I've destashed those. But there are 2 pieces for definite that I do want to get stitched. One of them I have managed to finish, and that is the Snip Snip from October House. I love the mini patterns, the skinny mini pattern series she's put out. She's putting out another 2 that I already have pre-ordered from Peakside Needleworks, because that is my go-to place for market releases. Absolutely love their website. It's always listed down below. So I did stitch this, and I stitched it using the called for DMCs. And I misread the chart. I thought they said that they stitched it on a 32 count. They didn't. They stitched it on a 36. So mine stitched on 16, so it's a bit bigger than the chart would be, but it's still teeny tiny. I've stitched this on 16 count Ada Permanent French Country Latte with the called for DMCs, and I have to say I apologise to October Fibre House when I picked out the greens, which is for instance this one here, which is stitched with DMC 3787 or Weeks Dye Works Flatfish. It is actually a green, and I was like, this is not going to work. I do not trust this colour. I stitched it. It looks amazing. So I just want to put out there, I do apologise. I really should have trusted designers with this, but absolutely so glad I got this finished. And this also gave me a £10 towards the Stitch from Stash budget. Absolutely love it. I'll probably finish it into a pillow, I imagine. I'm not sure. I'm just going to be putting it away in the finishes for now, and then I will come back and FFO it when I feel like I have a design to go with it. So just while we're talking about that, the next one that I pulled out, I haven't started yet, it is in the plan, is the Itch to Stitch. This was the other skinny mini pattern from Market. So if you are stitching those, make sure you use the hashtag #MakeWayForMarketSal, and a big thank you to Helen D for sharing with us the idea, because honestly I do not know why I haven't stitched this piece before. Like literally I picked this up and it took me about 3-4 hours to stitch, and I just did it in like little 15 minutes here before work. I did one set of scissors. After work I had a little bit of time, so I stitched the bottom. Oh, there's the top border, I'm holding it upside down. The border, and then I just went in and just every now and then did a few scissors. I got this done in 2 days while I was at work full time, so I was really impressed with that, because normally I don't stitch very much at all when I've got work, because I start at 7:45 and I finish at 11 p.m, so not a whole lot of time for stitching in that day. But absolutely love it, and I'm so glad that I did get that one finished, so I am pulling out the other one to work on. So let's have a look at new starts. So some of my new starts you've already seen, because they were starts and finishes between the last videos, which actually was the case for the Life in Bloom, the Bloom Where You Are Planted, the Snip Snips, which is the scissor one, and my FFO for the Easter. I really am not focusing on working on whips, which was my original goal this year. But at least I'm getting things done. If I'm starting them, I am finishing them. But we did go on a school trip to Brighton with the students, and I wanted a fill-in project. Now, I tend to have 2 fill-in projects on the go, so that way if I am on a coach for a couple of hours, or if I'm traveling anywhere, if it's myself or with the students, if I have times where I'm waiting for students to return, or if I've got early mornings where I have to let a student out, I don't tend to go back to bed, so I do tend to stitch. So I only had one piece on the go, which is my Santa baby from Fat Quarter Shop. It's the large Santa. I have finished Mrs. Claus. I do want to finish Santa, but I don't want to stitch Halloween. I was so into Valentine's Day and Easter and spring. I did not, Halloween, it's Christmas, I don't know why I said Halloween, but I'm so into those other like upbeat bright colours. I just didn't fancy Christmas. So I've had this piece on my list for a while since I finished the My Shadow Heartstring Samplery, which was my silhouette lady with her sewing thread, which was my kind of unicorn piece for a while. And then I managed to find the chart on eBay, and then found out you could get the PDF the whole time. This was when I first started stitching and I didn't know about PDF charts. But I absolutely loved that piece. It took me a long time to stitch because it wasn't a piece that I was focused on. It was just one I was using as a fill-in piece, and these pieces are brilliant. And then I found this piece, and even better, this is a freebie. This is Elizabeth Bennet of Jane Austen freebie from the Twin Peaks Primitive. Absolutely gorgeous. These pieces are what I mean by fill-in. You can outline the piece and then you just have all of this fill-in to do. So it is absolutely brilliant if you have to go somewhere and you're sat in a car, like waiting in a car. If you're, as I said, I did the outline in the evening before we went to Brighton, and then on the coach I was just doing a little bit of filling. So here she is in all her glory. Absolutely love her. I have used the same fabric I used for my Valentine's Day pieces. This is the Coffee Craft Design 18 count, and I'm using DMC 310. So because it's 18 count, I thought I could get away with one strand, which is why you also have a little bit up here. But I started the fill-in, I was on the coach, and I was like, I don't like it. It's too sparse. It's not popping out to me, and I knew if I was going to stitch this whole thing, I had to like it. So I jumped down to the bottom, and I used 2 strands. And even though some places it's a little bit difficult and it's making it quite thick, I love how this looks so much better than I like the 1 strand. And you can't really see it on camera. But that's the piece. Absolutely love it. I'm not sure if I'm going to add something here or if I'm just going to turn her into a skinny piece. She will not be framed for quite some time. She won't be finished for quite some time. But for this piece, as I said, I'm just using 2 strands of DMC 310 for the fill-in. And I have decided that this piece, for the past week, has been my 1 strand a day. So by that, I mean 1 length of thread a day. So I have my DMC on my bobbin. And all I'm doing is I'm taking a length of thread, 2 strands, and I just stitch that into the piece. And yes, it is going to take me a long time to finish it that way, but on the days where I'm working and I do not want to stitch because I'm too tired, I simply have this piece already. I'm stitching it in hand, so I can do this piece anywhere. I've been trying to do this on my lunch break, just putting 1 strand in, but it has been so nice. And then if I've got more time, I might want to put more strands in. That's up to me, but I am touching this piece every single day, which means I am stitching every single day. So I am really enjoying working that piece. As I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep it as the 1 strand a day piece. It may change. I may decide that I don't want it as a strand a day piece. I may not want to touch it for a while. I am just going to work through it however I want to work through it. It's just a fun piece and it will match my other piece quite well. So I now have a stitching lady and I will have a reading lady. So let me know if you know any more designs. I have picked up a few off Etsy that have got sayings in them about stronger women, things like that. But I quite like the idea that I have a stitching lady, a reading lady, and maybe I can find some other silhouette ladies out there. And I can have a whole series like that because they're both on very bright fabrics with black thread. So it's really nice contrast that they match even though the pieces don't match. So the only other whip I have, and this is like a really, really small start because, as I said, yesterday I stitched this piece and then I started on the second egg, which is this one here, the middle egg. So I've started stitching that and I got the first daffodil done. And then I was so tired because I had stitched this and I stopped stitching I didn't stitch the other one until I could FFO this, just because I wanted to make sure it worked. And then because I was FFOing, I decided to FFO other things. So yeah, that is the stitching. So that's the whips that I have. Yeah, so I'm quite proud. I got quite a lot of things done in the past 2 weeks. I do have the tiniest bit of haul, and this isn't a haul that counts in my Stitch from Stash because this is fabric. So when I was in Brighton, the students had free time for lunch, so I was walking around the lanes and went into the fabric shop, and I definitely had spring on my mind because I wanted gingham. I was specifically looking for like a green teal gingham, and that is your hint for next month's freebie on the 17th. Bearing in mind it's the 17th of March, guys. So that is that piece. And then I thought, well, do you know what? I need some gingham pieces to finish. I was thinking I was going to finish Valentine pieces, like the pillows and stuff like that. So this one was on sale and it was quite a decent, so it's 63 by 137 centimeters and it was a £5. The fabric for a meter cost like 20 something quid. It's a really nice fabric. It's just a gingham fabric, large gingham fabric, so I picked up that one. I then saw this one and just loved how old and worn down it looked. It kind of reminded me of the gingham skirts that my nan used to make me. And then I saw this piece. Now this piece is because of the Patreon chart from Teresa Kogut. So I did stop my Hello from Liz Matthews just because I absolutely love her charts, but I wasn't stitching them, and I kind of felt like it would be saving me money in the long run to just pick up the pieces as she releases them that I really want to stitch. Because even though I love her charts, I don't stitch her things. Teresa Kogut, I was about to stop it, and then she released the Patreon charts for this month. Now, one of them is the one that everyone's going mad for about, is actually being released at Needlework, at Nashville Needlework Market. So everyone will be able to get their hands on it. I don't have it printed and my tablet is out of battery, so I can't show you. But if you've seen it, you'll love it. You'll know what I mean. I really wanted a fabric that I could use to go with some other charts, because when I was pulling out my stuff to find my things from last for the needlework, what is it? The Make Way for Market sale. The Helen D's Make Way for Market sale. I also stumbled across this, which I picked up, wanted to stitch, haven't stitched, and thought, you know what, this would be brilliant. I then found this one. Let's Stay Home and Stitch, which I know we're not in quarantine. I don't want to even think about that before. I just love the chart and I still want to stitch the chart. So I thought these would look brilliantly with Teresa Kogut's pieces. So I need some fabric that kind of matches the theme. And then I saw this kind of checkered fabric. So that's what I picked up this for. I picked it up for these. When am I going to stitch these? I really don't know. I really do not know what I'm going to do. But I have put them in a bag, ready to go, ready to stitch. And I will do those when I feel up to stitching them. At the moment, I want to focus on getting the little eggs finished. And I want to do the October house. That is my goal for next week. I feel like there's one piece that I have that I've finished that I haven't brought up, and I do not know what piece that is. So I will add that into next week's video. Not next week, 2 weeks time's video. Because I cannot remember what was the other piece I stitched on. And I don't have my calendar with me that I marked down where I've stitched things, because that is currently on my desk. I forgot to bring that up because I was filling that in the other day. What else did I have to tell you guys about? So yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Oh, I will, someone did ask me, am I doing the March Madness challenge? No. I am going to be talking about that in my next video, which I'm not sure if it's going to be the end of this month or the start of next month. This is going up this week. So it will actually come out, yeah, I will do next week. It will be in the next Flosstube video. I am going to be setting myself a challenge. I found March Madness to be very difficult because you can only stitch on things on that day, and I really feel like I need to touch pieces for a couple of days to be able to feel satisfied with it, because otherwise I just end up starting all the things and never finishing anything. And this year the push has got to be, if I start something, there's got to be a finish aim to do it. If the piece is bigger, then I set out goals of what I'm going to do, but small pieces, if I start them, they have to get finished. So I will be introducing that next month, but I will be setting myself a challenge in the month of March, and it will be based on using one product for the month. I'm not entirely sure what yet. I'm still deciding whether I want to do one theme of charts or one colour palette that I do for the entire month. So I will be letting you know in next week's next Flosstube, which is 2 weeks time. So I'm going to go because I am now rambling on and I still can't remember what the finish was that I am missing. So you'll see another finish in next month. Well, I can't even talk, guys. So it's time for me to go. Make sure if you haven't already checked out yesterday's video and you would like to get your hands on this chart, it is completely free. It is in the description box of the Flosstube, the freebies on the 17th video before, if you would like to get your hands on that one. So I'm going to go grab myself some lunch and I will see you all very soon. Thank you so much for watching and happy stitching. Bye guys!